Oops.
Three, two,
We can fix that.
1,
Oh,
live.
that reminds me.
That quick. It's really like Lululemon stuff. It's just not as comfortable. It's good.
It's just way cooler.
Welcome to the Lift Heavy Run Long podcast, episode number 119 with Charlie Graham. You can find us at www.liftheavyrunlong.com, on Twitter and Instagram at liftrunlong. Also, feel free to email me directly at the address wilson@liftheavyrunlong.com. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. If you are not a member of our Facebook group, you should be because we want you to be there. Search for Lift Heavy Run Long Community and request to join right now. My name is Wilson Horrell. I am one of your hosts. I'd like to remind you that the Lift Heavy Run Long podcast is no longer censored, so listen at your own risk. I think that it will be mildly appropriate, but I don't know. You're on your own. We're also doing Facebook Live, so whatever you have
It's
to do about
usually
that.
pretty appropriate.
It's pretty good,
appropriate.
but I don't know. I think Charlie's excited about it.
So we went for a
It's a
very
weight off my shoulders.
we went for a very long time where we were censored, and so if anybody accidentally cussed, you would see Wilson roll his eyes, and then he'd make a note on the computer because he had to go back in and bleep it later.
Bleep.
But it wasn't
Yeah.
me. It was always you. And
It was me and Amanda.
And
or somebody
Amanda,
else.
and they fed off each other. So if there's one F-bomb, another was coming.
Oh, yeah, he cursed. I'm going to curse, too.
And then I would try not to give the stern look, but you can't help it. You got to be like, well,
Let me just make a note of it.
yeah, make a note of it. Let everybody know that you're putting me out.
Anyways,
I want to let you know something that we got.
What do we got?
We have an app. Lift Heavy Run Long has an app. I'm sure you've heard about it, but if you haven't, here's a little bit about it. For $3.99 a month, you can have access to the Lift Heavy Run Long Daily, which is 3 body weight exercises every week that you can do anywhere from the comfort of your home or gym or office or parole officer's place or wherever you do things. And it also comes with 4 WODs every week and 4 body weight strength exercises. You have full access to Valerie Hunt, the trainer. If you're in the endurance world, chances are you're familiar with Valerie Hunt. She's one of the world's most famous running coaches, and she's fantastic. For $9.99 a month, you can have access to any and all of the programs that Lift Heavy Run Long has to offer, which is everything from 5K programs to 100-mile programs to Spartan races to triathlons.
But if you're also interested in running and like lifting weights and stuff and all that, getting strong and those kinds of things, it's the perfect thing for you, right?
It is.
I mean, most people just want a running program where I'm just going to go run and that's it. But a lot of people want to lift weights and get strong and be badass.
Yep.
At the same time.
most
So,
of the good running coaches recommend some kind of cross training,
yeah, sure.
strength training.
But at the same time, a lot of people in our community on Facebook always ask, how do I put weightlifting into my running program? I don't know how to do it. So there you go.
Well, it's there. A lot of short interval training, about 1 long run a week generally.
We get that question a lot. Like, I've been
of
running
weightlifting.
for however many years, and I want to start lifting weights or doing some other kind of strength program, and I don't know what to do. So there you go.
Well, and the goal of Lift Heavy Run Long and the app is to bring fitness to as many people as possible, as inexpensively as possible. Obviously, we're not getting rich on $3.99 a month. If you know somebody who does not have $3.99 a month but would benefit from fitness in their life, please email me at wilson@liftheavyrunlong.com, and you're welcome to use the app free of charge. Speaking of the app, man, nobody's found someone to design us our own custom app yet.
We haven't.
Haven't done that.
Not for free.
Man, I just can't stop obsessing over it. Something's got to be done.
About how awesome it could be.
Tell me this. If someone
Yes.
was to design it as a website and then give it to someone and say, this is what I want it to look like, but an app, would that make it easier on an
A
app
lot,
designer?
a lot of mobile apps actually start out as what I'll say is like kind of a mobile skin on top of a website. So it is actually web-based, and that would actually be the smarter way to probably start it, and then at some point, because like when you originally used Facebook, there wasn't like a Facebook app for it. You had to go to the website, but it looked right on your mobile phone. It didn't look like it looked like on a desktop. And then later on, the desktop or the mobile phone app came to the process.
But it's also a big project. Like you need somebody that can dedicate a lot of time to it. It's not something yours can be like, yeah, a couple of weeks from now, I'll have it all done. It's not a simple thing. So that's why Trainerize exists, because they have the awesome apps they spent time developing and continue to work on.
Well, I mean, things are hard. I don't think that it would be that easy, but if you were trying to make it as efficient as possible and give it to somebody and say, it would be a lot easier than having to consult with them and say, well, I'm not real sure what I want. I kind of want it to look like this, but wouldn't it be cheaper if you could say, here's exactly what I want it to look like. I just want it in native app format.
Yep.
Is that accurate?
But I would tell you that the process for getting that website developed and making it look exactly the way you want it and interacting the way you want it is just as complicated as doing a native app.
Well, but do you need to get do you need to get a website up and functional and looking nice, or would it be, could you just have a web design and let them know more, this is kind of the crap that's been thrown up here. I want it to function like this, but I want it to look nice.
Yeah, I mean, that's
like the difference between me writing Charlie's name up on the board and Amanda's writing Charlie's name on the board.
Yeah, so that's the way a lot of web and app design works, is somebody designs what each of the screens looks like and then describes what the various interactions are on the screens, and then
that's exactly how it works.
You send it off to a programmer, and a programmer turns that into gold and magic.
And neither are a small task. Like both of those things are a pretty big task.
I feel like whoever is going to do this for you is listening right now.
We feel like that. We feel like that too.
Can you help that?
But the problem is we've been talking about this for like 6 months. And
they're coming. They're listening tonight.
Yeah,
they've got to be. I mean, there's got to be somebody that's like, you know what? Let me do this. Give me a cut of whatever we can. Give me ownership in this thing, and I'll take the time to do it.
Oh wait, there's money involved?
I mean, it can be potentially.
You never said that
before. You can probably use the app
Big
for free
if
you email Wilson.
For sure. I mean, there can be.
Them.
Would that make a difference?
Absolutely. If you're saying we're gonna pay somebody to do it, or it sounds like you're asking someone to do it for free, is what.
Well, we've jokingly been saying that, but I don't think that was ever really the intention.
Yeah, I mean, I'll do it for free. It's gonna be dog shit, but
yeah,
it's gonna look like you're writing.
Yeah, well, Vaughn, you perked up like maybe you would be willing to put an effort if there was.
No,
money involved, or does there
me.
have to be money on the front end?
Well, that was him.
That was
me as well. But like, there's always money makes a huge difference. If a programmer,
money is a proper motivator. For some people.
There's a lot of time that goes into building websites and applications and designing things and all that. It's a huge sacrifice.
You got to ask the right questions, Wilson. You can't just.
You would think as a
hand.
podcast host that you'd be better at asking questions. I'm just playing.
Yeah, but the problem is what you really need to look for is the designer that wants to build that thing that Brian was talking about. Is, hey, this is what we want it to look like, because I don't do that. I don't know anything. I'm terrible at that. Like, I'm not an artist. I'm not an art director. You need like an art director. User experience person to build you a graphic that just doesn't do anything and shows exactly everything that you want.
But it could be wireframed. It doesn't even have to be pretty.
Well, I think it does have to be pretty. I could argue with you on that, but I don't want to put something out there that's ugly.
No. The initial conversation is a wireframe and doesn't have to look pretty. It's just, this is what the user experience is. These are the buttons that are on this page. This is what each button does. This is... what that interaction feels like, looks like.
Right, but that could be the same person that makes it look pretty.
Right, but then somebody takes those wireframes after you've decided how the app is going to work, and then puts a pretty picture on top of it.
Speaking of pretty, the prettiest woman
Let's
in the
move
world is sitting right next to me. My lovely wife, the amazing Dr. Amanda Kimsey Horrell.
I feel like you traded her in for somebody new.
Yeah, she got a new haircut, but she does that pretty regularly. It's a lot of fun.
So
You know,
for
something new all
for
the
those at home, I actually walked in and out of the corner of my eye, I hadn't looked directly at Amanda yet, and then tried to turn and shake her hand because I didn't recognize her. So
Yep.
she's definitely styling.
Yeah, it's
a new
fun to
view.
have curly hair because when you straighten it and then get a cut on top of it, you can kind of trick people.
Well, you can pull off just about any kind of hair.
Thanks.
Same way that me and Brian do. I mean, we're changing up our
Now
style.
I see Charlie's hair all long and pretty. I
the
want mine
time.
long again now. Wish I hadn't cut it off. That's okay. It'll grow.
How are you doing?
I'm okay.
Good. Anything exciting going on?
Focused on the race Saturday. That's about
What
it.
race is that?
It's the Walking Tall Big Hill Pond race.
25K and 50K.
Yes.
Which are you running?
The 50?
Nice.
Gonna
Of course.
try-
That was a dumb question, wasn't it?
No. Gonna try to meet the time constraints. I think this is gonna be my first official DNF ever. I'm kind of sad and already mad a little bit. I haven't even done the race
I
yet.
feel like Brian Williams set out intentionally to have the highest DNF rate ever at an ultra.
And that's cool.
No.
Yeah.
Why are you talking like that?
It's not going to
It's
mean
a
anything.
9-hour cutoff, and some people have run the 25K course, and it took them like people. I won't say super fast people, but people that we
But,
respect that should be
yes.
able to finish a 50K under a time cap, and it took them almost 5 hours to do the 25K course, and the second half is harder. So
Charlie's still calling bullcrap on your attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
agree.
that's-
I'm
that
in
has
your
nothing to
camp.
do with
She's
her
of
race.
yogi mind.
Right.
she's the one that said it, not me. She's
Yeah,
saying,
so
she's
that's
saying
why
herself.
the question was for her. Why are we talking like that?
I don't know, because I'm
You're just going to
Debbie
go
Downer.
running in
I need to-
8
Hey, you just
hours.
had a bad
Suck it
day.
up.
Running in
so-
7 hours. is
I
what
have
you're
had a
gonna
bad
do.
day, so I need to take Wilson and Charlie's attitude.
There we go.
Olaf
sitting right
says you
between
set
us.
your intention and then you do it.
All right, Olaf.
There you
Yeah,
go,
so
Olaf.
There you
what
go.
you said was, I think this is going to be my first DNF. Well, with that attitude, it absolutely
See
is
it,
gonna be.
yeah.
Like, why
See it
even
done.
go?
Like, you have to visualize that shit.
All right.
We have our friend Charlie Graham with us. Charlie, how are you?
Great. I'm waving on a podcast.
Say hi to Facebook.
You're
They
what?
can
I'm
see
waving
you.
on a
They,
podcast.
they're waving back, I promise.
Charlie is a yoga instructor, a hot yoga instructor.
Thank you.
And let me clarify it. Charlie is a lovely woman who teaches hot yoga.
There you go.
So it's important how you present your
Exactly.
words. And I'm
Word-
not
words
always
are-
the best wordsmith when it
Words are
comes
important.
to.
I think she would take the compliment either way.
Yeah.
though.
I'll take it.
Okay, we're
Take it to
good
the bank.
now. And speaking of hot, I'm sweating. I do that a lot. And a hot yoga class would kill me.
He
There's
would
no
have a
way.
river trickling
Yeah.
from his mat.
You wouldn't be the only one.
Yeah, you wouldn't let me in. You'd run me out.
Can I just come
I
in
would
there?
let anyone in, but you have to get yourself to the car afterwards.
Could there be too heavy of a sweater that you're just like, I just can't?
Yeah,
I know,
that's my
definitely.
fear. Is like, do you ever run anybody out of there? Like, because if I came in there, you'd be like, "What is this guy doing?"
Like this guy cannot bend.
Like his arms,
I don't-
my arms won't even go. Like
They're doing it now.
they're not. No, they're not supposed to do that. They're supposed to like be straight.
Well,
or
that's
something.
if you ever take my class, you'll hear me say, straight arms, whatever, and then I'll say, straight is straighter than you think it is. Straighten your arms. You're being really great company. And yeah, I do a lot of mopping after every class.
Yeah, bendy. I am not.
I almost wore my shirt today that says more badass than bendy,
Ah, there you go.
which is super true.
You have a quote in your bio that I really like, and thinking about what you said about the 50K, and you said that you breathe the mantra, you have what it takes, even if it takes everything you have. And I love that. I read that and I got goosebumps, and I thought, we really do, and sometimes it does take all of it. Which
If we're
is
lucky.
good.
it
I'm a
does.
lot better off giving everything I have than being given something that doesn't require most everything I have. Because then I'll just take it for granted and it means nothing to me.
I'm almost uninterested in things that are easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you do a lot of distance running? I know that you're a runner.
I think it's all relative, right? Like
Uh-huh.
it depends on who you hang out with. I hang out with people who run long. So to me, like 15, 16, 18 miles isn't a lot. But you say that to somebody else, they're like, whoa.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want to drive that far.
Do you do ultras?
Oh
Was
god.
somebody chasing you?
Oh god.
So
Oh.
it depends.
Steal something?
Has that ever been mildly amusing?
Never.
Yes.
That is such an annoying comment.
Maybe it
The
was
first
funny
time.
at one time.
Yeah, the very first time.
Was a bear
Hilarious.
chasing you?
And you run on Can't Stop Endurance with our friend Kevin Leathers. We were talking about how big of a fan.
Started his own
I'm a
podcast
fanboy
today.
of Kevin.
He did start his own podcast today.
He did.
Today, yeah.
I saw where you posted something about that. Did he just start it?
Yeah, it's the first
Episode
episode
1.
out there. Intro podcast. It's like an 8-minute intro. It's pretty good.
Was he by? I guess the 8-minute intro is just him.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll tune into that. What is it called?
Can't stop endurance.
All right. Why is that a dumb question?
It wasn't. It
laughing
was
at
not
a
a
joke
dumb
I
question
heard.
at all.
A man has a podcast.
Amanda
and I should
laughed
just
at you.
know
I
what
don't
it's
know.
called? Can't Stop Endurance.
We're feeling better already.
Well, if you're
Yes.
going to go search for it on iTunes, you need to know what it's called.
Yeah.
It's called Can't Stop Endurance, and you should probably go listen to it and leave him a review. Like you should go and look up Lift Heavy Run Long and leave us a review
That's
as well. And I'm sure Kevin Leathers will do the same thing.
And speaking of things that you can't stop, the Reverend Vaughn Rawls, Unstoppable.
That's me.
And he's here today.
I am.
Tonight.
I showed
with
up.
us.
What do you know?
How are you?
Fantastic.
What's new?
What's new? I'm running an aid station at the Big Hill Pond Walking Tall 25K, 50K this weekend, and apparently it is the biggest aid station at the race.
Yes, it
and
is.
I will see each of you running the race twice.
How many volunteers do you have with you at your station?
So it started with 3 of us.
Good.
Now there's I think 7.
Good.
Good.
So we're rocking and rolling. A lot of people are just coming out of the.
If you need any
woodwork, so-
advice on how that works running an aid station, you should probably talk to Wilson because he's helped run an aid station
That's
before.
right.
So
I
He
did it
does.
once.
He's
I
a-
talk
he's a
about it
pro.
often. I only did
He's
it
a
once,
pro,
but
man.
I was so selfless. Like I just so giving of myself that I thought I should do this. And
And we're still talking about
we
it.
talk about it as often
are.
as we can.
How long ago was that?
That was like 4 years ago. But other people are still talking about how good of a job that I did when I ask them, and I'm like,
like
"You
they
remember that
wish
time?"
they wish
So
every
I-
aid station was as good as that time that they went through. That
They're
Wilson
like,
was there.
where is Wilson?
Every time I
That's
approach
aid
them and I'm like, "Hey, you remember that time I helped at that aid station? Was I good or what?" They're always like, "Yeah, you're pretty good. Pretty good." You're probably gonna be pretty exhausted. You might DNF the aid station.
I'm loving it, man. I'm excited.
It's
about
a lot
it.
of
I can't
work.
Wait. Yeah,
I did it once.
I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a whole lot of fun, man. I've been on the other side quite a bit, and being on that side is
Just-
very fulfilling.
Make sure you belittle the people that don't make the time cutoff. Like there's no way that they could have.
Well, I'm going to do that, and I'm also going to do. It's all downhill from here, man. I can't wait to say that to somebody.
Just a
Like,
couple more miles.
I can't
You
wait
got
to
it.
be like, dude, you're almost there. It's all practically downhill. No
And right
more
around the
uphills.
corner. It's
So,
right around the corner.
I'm actually going to be there on Saturday. I'm going to be at some tower, like
oh,
a
yeah, okay.
water tower.
You get to
Yeah.
run the water tower, the rogue aid station
I'm
at the top of
punching
the water
bibs.
tower.
All right.
I'm going to be
That's
the one
awesome.
that people are.
I'm gonna climb it once. If you can go ahead and punch me twice, so that I don't have to come around the second time.
We'll
that'd
talk
be
about it
great.
after the podcast.
I just learned that today that we got to go up it twice.
Yeah, so I posted in the group a picture of a very tall staircase, just
saw
kind of
that.
jokingly, like about the fire tower, and then somebody said the 50Kers have to do it twice, and I was like, oh,
So yeah, I think you
snap.
get a 25 punch and then a different punch.
Right.
So I'll have
So are the 50K people running the 25K course twice? Is that what's happening?
No, but apparently the fire tower is on the shared part of the course, so that you come back by it twice.
Okay. So you just like, let's just make them do it twice.
Because Brian Williams hates us.
Yes.
Pretty cool.
Realistically, how long does it take to get up and down that thing?
It's 81 steps.
yes.
That doesn't mean anything to me. Like I've
No,
never
that-
taken 10 steps. I don't know like how long that.
Trying to think.
I guess it's just going to depend on how tight. I mean,
Is that 8 floors or 4 floors? Is one floor 10 or 20 steps?
I think one floor is 10 steps.
That's
So
awesome.
eight floors.
Well, in the hospital, it's 10. And
So
then
let's
If
say-
if
10.
I were fresh,
thinking
I
in
could
between.
do 8 stories in probably 4 to 5 minutes.
Wow.
Is that your PR?
I was thinking like 20 minutes to get up the tower and back down.
20 minutes.
Really?
That's a lot of time.
Dang, are you crawling?
I've never
No,
seen-
he's going to be at the aid station.
No. I've never even seen the
But
tower. So
I don't know where it's at in the
guessing.
course.
Oh,
Like,
that's
I mean,
me.
if it's 15 miles
I like
into
how
the
everybody
25K.
jumps on people when they just give a hypothetical
What's
answer.
wrong
Right,
with
What?
you,
20 minutes?
moron? Why are you so stupid?
You don't know how long it
20
takes
minutes,
to
idiot.
go up 8 flights of stairs?
Oh.
Of course, it's Can't Stop Endurance podcast. Fool. What else would it be?
Oh, good
The 20-minute
times.
staircase. That's what it's
That's a
called.
lot of minutes.
I,
Too many. It's too
That's
many.
1 minute.
I don't think
that-
it'll be
I
20
think
If you
that's-
got to keep a 17:20 pace to finish the 50K,
and that's not part of the
Right.
the distance.
so
Like,
then you're taking a minute off a mile there, and then you throw on my couple minutes that will undoubtedly
Well,
be
you
like
just-
42-minute miles.
You better get past me before 2:30 is all I'm saying.
What if I send someone ahead that's like, he's coming, he's fine, he'll be here. Will you vouch for me and say, yeah, Wilson went on past the aid station, he's good?
That's what I'll do. I'll run ahead with your bib. I'll leave your bib at the aid station, so your bib was there in
Right.
time for the cutoff.
Right.
And you'll just be buying a minute to pick it up and carry it the rest of the way.
Yep. That's going to put you in a compromising position.
It's
Vaughn.
not a compromising position at all.
You don't think it is?
No, you're supposed to leave by 2:30. It's 2:31. You're done.
I'm leaving.
Ooh, that's a hard job.
Are you going
though.
to feel comfortable cutting somebody at 2:31?
No.
Especially the people that you
comfortable doing
know.
No, he won't. You're going to feel terrible about it.
Nope.
You're going to be out there.
Nope.
He's building himself up. He's like, nope, I'm,
I'm
going to
taking
be
this
fine.
very
It's gonna be-
seriously. It's not a joke.
You're going to be out there. You're going to be trash. You're going to be like, oh, man, yeah, go ahead.
That's
You've
what I'll do.
never,
Gotta go
you've
home.
never like greased your way through a cutoff?
No, he's never been that slow. He's never been that slow.
I greased my way through all cutoffs.
Yeah, right.
I-
Yeah,
I-
you're working on it now.
So
At
Connor
Sylamore-
Hayden says that the fire tower is at mile 11 and mile 20.
Okay.
Mile 20 would be.
So
Thing.
yeah, all right. So we'll have to do it twice, as in run to it, do it once, run some more, and then do it again.
Exactly.
Okay. So I was thinking like the bottleneck of having
You
to
had to
run
go
up
up
and
and
like
down
two
and
people.
run up,
No,
right,
no, no,
turn
no.
around, do it
and then I
right
was
again.
thinking about how you get away with being like, you didn't see me. It's my second time.
Right.
Yeah.
Because she's going to punch it each time you come
I'm going to
to the
punch
top.
you.
You punch each individual, like you leave a frog.
Which one do you want?
Yeah, it's not actually like a little.
Like- No,
It's not a
Brad,
little
I'm
hole
not getting a
punch.
hole
She's got
punch.
different rings
Yeah,
on each
brass
hand. Like,
knuckles, 25, 50.
that'll be fantastic.
It's going to be great. Wilson, get out of here.
What's new with you? Did I ask you that?
I don't think
Who?
you introduced
Me?
him.
Did
I
I?
didn't introduce the greatest looking man in the world.
The best looking cameraman in the business, Big Thirsty, Brian Swanson.
I
And I
love that you're-
totally dissed you like that. I was so excited about introducing you like I am every week, and then I forgot.
I don't feel dissed. We've been talking. The conversation's been
I
good.
feel bad.
It's okay that we
You br-
skip introductions sometimes.
Well, last week you brought me cakes and you lit candles.
I walked in the room with cakes. Your wife took care of all the heavy lifting of
That
it.
was so nice. The best week of my life.
I love that you're calling me Big Thirsty, by the way.
I was wondering how you felt about it.
That's your spin on my nickname of
It's
Thirsty
there.
Runner,
It's
and
there.
And I like it.
Once I get it lodged in there, I can't get rid of it. And
good
I
with
Okay,
thought,
but let me just. I think I'm not that hip, but I think that thirsty now means horny. So Wilson, if you're calling him Big Thirsty,
may still be accurate.
I think that we're okay.
Perfect.
Kinda weird.
but I'm just like this.
No need to change anything.
It's a
Okay,
bromance.
perfect.
It's a bromance.
Perfect.
It's
Totally
good.
confident
Carry on.
here.
Sorry.
Totally horny there. So we're good. The name fits.
Did I mention my smoking hot wife?
Yeah, that's right. I'm good, man.
Very thirsty.
Is there anything new in my world? The 50K is going to be interesting this weekend. I'm going to show up. We're going to have fun Friday night. As with all running trips that we do, we're going to have fun except for the running part.
We totally bailed out on the camping, as you know,
I heard.
which is a really good idea. But we did buy the inflatable beds and the inflatable pillows, but we're going to return them to Amazon. The idea of camping is really so much fun until it's time to camp.
Really?
You know,
I'm
unless
really
you
looking
have
forward to the
somebody
camping.
setting up for you. Glamping is good.
So I've been roped into. I say roped into. I'm sharing a tent with Dawn. So and Dawn has to work late that night. So I've got to go set up the tent and everything.
Yeah.
And so she gets to just show up and
But she works late hours. What time is
She's
she going
gonna
to
get
there?
there, what,
she's gonna
2?
get she's gonna get there like late.
Like 2 a.m. or
Like,
something like
Dawn's
that.
going
1
to win
a.m.
that
to-
thing the way she's been running.
Yep.
Yeah, she's gonna be strong.
She doing the 50K, I'm sure.
She is doing the 50K. So
Cool.
be a good day.
Well, that'll be fun. There's going to be a lot of LHRL people there.
You know, and so Vaughn mentioned that, I think, in Slack or something like that today, which I was really excited about. But I love seeing how many people are picking up their packets and that the packets have LHRL stickers in it.
Boom.
And that there's a
was
flyer.
genius idea.
You know, that's all part of the master plan of taking over the world. But that's cool. And I like that people that already have stickers and people that already have gear are excited about getting a sticker.
Shit, I got a new sticker. Why would you be excited?
Yeah, I'm just saying. It's just a very cool thing. So.
Those stickers are great.
Yeah,
They
they
are
are.
great.
I love those things.
So that's all. I love the feedback that we're getting already on people picking up their packets and being excited about the LHRL stickers.
People will run a 50K for a sticker.
People love
they
to get
will.
free stuff, don't they?
It's mostly the sticker.
Yeah. Does Notre Dame play Saturday?
We have a bye this week. Thank you for asking.
Okay. Because I was going to say that would be hard to be out there running while your team's playing. Unfortunately, I have to run and then immediately watch Mississippi State play LSU in Baton Rouge at, I think, 6:30 p.m., which is never a fun place to play.
So you may not remember the conversation, but this is why I am not doing the 100-miler this year at Tunnel Hill. It's because
Is that why?
it is why I was actually secretly going to train for it, and not tell anybody. I was going to do the
We got the same
50 mile,
reason.
and
Damn. Notre Dame football.
but we play Florida State at like 7:00 that night, so I have to be done in 12 hours so that I can watch the game. That's going to be an important game for us.
How
Well, at this point we're number 4 in the country
Yeah.
and we're undefeated, so every game's an important game. But that one in particular, I have good close friends that are Florida State fans, so I have to be around and available for smack talking and receiving smack talk. So
I want to talk for a second about Andrew Causey and him giving away the LHRL hoodie.
that was awesome.
How cool is that?
That was pretty
That
cool.
is an ambassador on a whole nother level.
And he's paying. He offered to pay for that out of pocket. He just wanted to do something cool for the community. Said, "I want to have a giveaway. I'll pay for the shipping. I'll pay for the
Pay for the hoodie, pay for the shipping.
Let's just get people engaged." And
How many comments did we end up with on that post?
about 200.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
It was close to 200, yeah.
It's awesome. What a great group.
Are all those people leaving reviews of the podcast?
No, but they need to be.
I would agree with that.
Will you
That's
leave
what
us a
the
review?
that's what the next.
Is it on Facebook?
No, it's on iTunes.
Probably not.
There's no way of you doing that.
If you log into my phone, you can do whatever you want.
Okay.
There you go.
Cool.
That's
Vaughn, you
what-
want to do that?
Yeah, that's what we'll do.
Say something nice about me, please.
Just you give them all the stars.
Do we have any reviews you want to read?
Yeah, we do.
Put
Come
your
on.
past-
yeah, you
bring
got
it.
Y'all are gonna have to help me figure out who this is.
Because we probably know them.
Put your stuff on and let's go. I'm assuming that's in a reference to maybe like Stanky Creek, the
Gary
video that
Owens.
Vaughn put out.
Gary Owens.
Well, it's TGOV, like big T, GOV,
Okay.
TGOV.
T-Go-V.
LHRL is a quality podcast. We are brought inside the inner circle of a group of friends that enjoy challenging their bodies and minds. We are exposed to success and failure with lessons from both. Highly recommend this podcast to all.
It's awesome.
TGOV.
Gary Owens is watching. I'm waiting for him to comment to admit whether or not that was him or not.
Take over? Is that what that means?
I don't know what it means. GO would be Gary Owens, but I don't know. I can't figure things like that out. Let's talk about you, Charlie. What's going on with you? You came out here, you weathered the storm of all the sketchiness that is involved with coming out to Marshall County, DeSoto County,
Mississippi.
Mississippi,
Mississippi in general.
North Mississippi, meth country.
You don't like Mississippi?
This is my first experience in Mississippi.
Oh,
Okay,
well, then
but you
you're
come
having a
from
good-
Atlanta, and that's not all daisies over there.
Nor is it Mississippi.
That's true. That's very true.
If she never got outside Atlanta, then she doesn't know what rural Georgia
I
looks
super
like.
did
so.
not until I moved to Memphis. And I was like, why am I in Mississippi? This has been like an hour and a half of this. What's happening? I was very confused.
Well, coming over the sun sets earlier this time of year, which makes it all the sketchier because you got to drive out to the country. You got to find a gravel road. You got to find a log house on which that gravel road sits under. You have to come through one door in a metal building, only go through another door in a wooden building, only
Pass
go
a
through a
truck.
third door.
It's inside.
And it's all just, it's a lot to take in.
You're just waiting for the guy to try and come like
I'm
put
still
the
waiting for the
chloroform
cupcakes.
over you. You know?
Yep. But you made it, and you did it, and we're glad to have you.
I'm glad to be here.
Well, tell us about yourself. You come from Atlanta. You were a yoga teacher in Atlanta.
Yep. I've been teaching yoga for, 5 or 6 years. And moved here just over a year and a half ago.
What got you into yoga originally?
I remember doing yoga as a kid because I walked in on my mom doing yoga in her bedroom, and I was like, what is happening? But also I had never seen my mother like so badass before. She was doing this lion's breath, and it's intense. And I felt like I walked in like to a cave, and so I was seeing something like, it was crazy. Anyway, so she was like, oh yeah, check out this book. So I remember doing it as a kid. And I've always, always, always done something athletic or something with my body, something crazy. So it was an easy sell for me. So I just got really into it in high school, college, and then ended up getting my certification a handful of years ago. And I had no intention of teaching at the time, but
How's that working out?
teaching?
Just not intending to teach,
Yeah.
and now you're a teacher. So
I can't imagine not doing it.
That's
How
awesome.
often do you teach?
Now I only teach once a week. Did I leave a review?
You did.
5 stars.
Very good, Vaughn.
I really like this podcast for a simple reason. Something about Vaughn. He's very handsome.
You should do that every week.
Thank you.
Can you
Tell
hand me
every
your
guest,
phone, please?
hey, give me your
Yeah, that's perfect. That's the
Blah,
best
blah, blah.
review I've ever left. So yeah, I fell into teaching yoga, and now I can't imagine not doing it. Kind of like running. Like I can't imagine not doing it.
Sure.
And when I'm not teaching, I feel like something's not right.
Interesting.
Did you ever have a time where you weren't into any kind of fitness?
No. I got my first pair of running shoes when I was like 7. I would come home from school and go running.
Wow.
Your mom doing yoga when you were a kid, yoga probably wasn't near as popular back then, huh?
I also think I caught my mom doing yoga the one time that she ever did yoga,
Yeah.
like as a mother of some children, like a working single mom. So the stars were aligned that day. But yeah, and her book was like from the 70s, which to me was ancient at the time, but it was some Eastern, like it probably wasn't even in English, just some pictures.
What was your sports in high school?
I danced in high school. I was a cheerleader. I went to an all-black school mostly. Like the sports were dominated by the black kids at my school. So when I wanted to run track, they were like, "You can run the 2-mile. You're adorable." I'm like, "I can't do hurdles." I'm like, no, stop, go away. I wasn't really big into sports in high school. I was big into other things. But I, danced and ran, but I would always run like by myself. And then it was yoga, and then it was, drinking. That was my sport for a long time. And then it was yoga and running, and yoga and running. And I've basically toggled between those two mostly, always.
So when you're a multi-sport athlete between yoga and drinking, how did that work?
When I was drinking, it was a singular sport.
The yoga kind of went to the side.
Yeah, down the toilet.
Yep.
Yeah.
And-
In fact, when I was, well, just to like go there, I guess, when I was drinking, I was also a cokehead, like just whatever I could get my hands on. And I really, really, really wanted to run in those years. I really wanted to run. I mean, if you do enough cocaine, you definitely want to run.
You can run.
Right. But I was terrified to run because I thought my heart was going to explode.
Yeah.
Terrified. And I remember like the ache, like just being like just being torn between those two things. Like it makes me teary just thinking about like how badly I wanted to run when I knew that I couldn't.
How old are you at this time?
Then, I don't know, 25,
Okay.
24, 25, 26.
That's scary. I
It
guess I
was
never really thought
terrifying.
about that. When I was in my active addiction, I went through periods of going to the gym and waking up and drinking my AMP energy drink and taking my Percocets and taking my Adderall and getting on the treadmill. And I never had the least bit of concern about my heart blowing up. But it was probably a lot closer to blowing up than, I knew, but I just didn't have that fear in me. But I can't imagine being a skilled runner, and wanting to run, but having to choose between, doing cocaine or running, and then doing cocaine and thinking, now I really want to go do what I want to do, but I'm so high that I can't do it.
You just use the language like having to choose between the drug and and running. And there was so much of that experience for me was beyond choice. Like when you're in active addiction, you actually don't have a choice. You certainly don't feel like it. So it just felt like I was a slave to the wrong side. And it was just devastating, which it is, right? And then when I got clean, I was like, yay, I can run. I waited a little while, and when I started running, man, I was...
No stopping you?
You were just geeked on running.
I ran for hours every day. For that first year that I was clean, that's all I did was run.
And you've been clean how long?
7.5 years.
When you got clean, was there a process? Was there a period of depression, or were you able to just get right into running?
No. I think the depression was all my using. That was the most depressed I've ever been. And then when I got clean and felt like it was safe to run, I would run every day. I'd wake up in the morning. I'd run 7 miles in the morning. I'd go to work. I would come home from work and run 9 miles every night.
Wow.
Oh. And I did that for a year and a half, 2 years.
And feeling good and happy while doing this?
No. God, no. No. When you're coming out of active addiction, you're just a skeleton. You're a shell of a human. So I didn't even know what happiness felt like. I didn't know what hunger felt like.
So
I didn't know what my feet felt like.
Just going through the motions.
Yeah, I was just doing what I knew to do. Go to meeting, go to work, go for a run, go to bed, wake up, repeat. I would be lying to you if I said and then it was amazing.
Well, that's what I was hearing when you said you went straight to it. I mean, when you went straight from
I went
coke
from one
to running.
addiction to another addiction.
Yeah.
And then then yoga kind of played into that because I was like, I'm going to hurt myself running 15 miles every day. This isn't sustainable. I'm going to go to yoga. So just like a great addict,
Jeez.
I would go run in the morning and then I would go to do 3 hours of yoga at night, hot yoga at night.
How many days in a row do you think you ran 15 miles?
Over a year.
Like you're serious?
A day.
Like you think every day for a year you ran 15 miles?
I'm telling you with my eyes and my heart and my mouth. That's what happened.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
It was insane. But, I went from doing drugs with all of my time to having literally nothing to do because I wasn't doing drugs. I didn't have anything to do.
Yeah.
But I had to read. I had to do something.
Right.
Just otherwise I would just sit around and feel sorry for myself.
Yeah.
But then at some point, after all the running and then all the yoga and there's so much yoga, I just realized I'm hiding from my life. I'm running because it's easy and I don't have to talk to anybody or feel anything. I'm doing yoga because it's in a hot, dark basement room and I'm sequestered to this rectangular mat. I don't know how to talk to people. I don't know how to feel my feelings. I don't know how to feed myself. I don't know how to have a conflict. I don't know how to find a solution. I don't know how to deal with any of this stuff. So that day I was literally rendered speechless. I did a workshop and I came off my mat. I was just this has to stop. And I stopped running and I stopped doing yoga and I was like, I dare you, Charlie, to go live some life.
Look at you now on a podcast talking to the world. How cool is that?
The whole world is listening from Mississippi.
Did you have anybody teaching you how to live your life? Or were you just...
I didn't have a mentor in running or yoga.
But I mean, what did you
point.
do? You were saying I'm doing this stuff to hide away.
Mm-hmm.
When you stopped doing it, what was that like? Did you go, okay, I'm going to go to a church or something and talk to people, or what did you do?
I mean, I think we can all relate to what running is for us in the ways that it is. You can train, you learn discipline, you learn how to get angry and run through it. You learn how to get sad and run through it. Running and yoga or whatever your thing is will give you the skills to like process some of this stuff. So it was just more like, see if you can take what you've learned from your yoga mat or from your running and just go to work, and then go for a walk or go to dinner with somebody or be a friend. You know, don't say no all the time. Start saying yes to some things. And it was not pretty.
But you consciously did that. You were
Yes.
like, okay, today, if someone asks me to go to dinner, I'm going to say yes.
God
Or
damn
I'm going to find somebody to go to dinner.
Still don't want to do that. Please don't ask me to do anything. You know, yeah, I was like, I'm consciously going to go practice yoga off my mat.
Wow, that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, and it was.
And you seem highly extroverted. You know, it doesn't seem like you would have any problems
that
being
ironic?
social. But I feel the same way.
When you're digging yourself out of this hole that you've been buried in for a long time, it's all new, right?
I tell Amanda
And look
all
at my
the
life
time
now.
that-
You're right. Like, I'm on this podcast. I live in Memphis, Tennessee. I'm engaged to the best man I've ever met. Like,
Here you are in Mississippi.
in Mississippi.
That's right.
So the life that I live today is beyond my wildest dreams. And in that too, I'm always in uncharted territory. So like my addiction now is probably just possibility. Like, what do I know? Mm-hmm. Anything's possible. I'm just happy to be here.
Do you always feel like that you're treading water and trying to move forward and trying to say yes to things and trying to find balance and trying to, is it always new to you, or do you feel like that you've got anything figured out?
I think the minute that we think that we have something figured out is the minute we start selling ourselves short. And I'm not interested in that. So I probably do have a lot figured out, but I'll also be the first person to say, I don't know.
Right.
What do you think?
I agree with you that the times that I think that the more that I know, the unhappier I generally am.
Yeah.
And that just being ignorant and expectful is not a word, I don't think, but just expecting good things to happen and wanting new, wanting to learn new things and do new things. I'm happy there, but I'm not happy in a place where I think that I know what's good for me. I know what I need to do, and I know what's going on all the time, because the more that I know, the more argumentative I tend to be, and the more unhappier I am when the things that I know are going to be this way aren't that way.
And I still definitely default to that. Like, I like control. I like things lining up. I like being right. Like I like that, but it's not a healthy place for me to be. Because when I get, like, I'm pigeonholed, and that's when I start to see it, like, come out in some bad behaviors, right? Or bad thinking. And then that's when I have to, like, start walking backwards and just be like, what? Let me ask you about you. Enough about me. I need some help.
Well, there's definitely something to learn. Like there's something you have to figure out how to a mindset you have to figure out how to get into, which is Wilson wrote an awesome blog last week about called The First Version, where like you're always unhappy with, not even unhappy, but you're always embarrassed with what you're doing. Like if you look back on it, if I look back on when you first started this podcast, like how silly it was or whatever, and you're always have to be in that mode. Like you can't be like, man, what a loser I am. What you have to switch to is like, I want to write a blog called The Second Version, where you have to be like, you have to switch to this mindset that's like, man, I'm really glad that I just screwed that up.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to screw that up again.
In the same way.
In the same way, right?
You're still going to screw up. You're just not going to screw up in the same ways.
I'm really glad I said that stupid thing, and now I'm super embarrassed and I'm a moron. But I'm not going to do that again. Mm-hmm. And then as you progress, you just get better and better and better, and you won't have, you're constantly progressing. And like I think if you're in a spot where you're like, yeah, everything's cool, I'm the man. Like I don't screw anything.
Oh yeah,
I don't screw
that's a
anything
terrible
up.
place to be.
I don't screw anything up. Everything's perfect. I think that's a bad place to be in.
I'm not interested. That's that watery stalk we were talking about before, right?
Do you feel like that you've learned a lot of life lessons through yoga? Sounds like you have. Sounds like you relate a lot to yoga.
I've learned a lot about myself. Yeah. The life lessons, I don't know. Those are always happening, but
I was going to say, are you learning life lessons from yoga, or is that just what you can make analogies to because you've been so involved in it, that kind of a thing?
You just learn about yourself.
Yeah.
And then I think whatever you're ready to hear, you'll hear. Whatever you're ready to see, you'll see. So like the life lessons they'll come, but the more self-aware you are, I think the more present the more available you make yourself to those things.
Do your students rely on you to be a guru to them?
Here's the truth. Because I'm seeing this podcast getting steered like towards yoga, and I just want to level with you guys. It's great. Namaste. My life in Atlanta was yoga centric. My life in Memphis, the last year and a half, has not been. So I'm feeling I can definitely speak to all of this authentically, but I feel very removed from my like yoga version of myself. Like my students now, they come every Monday at 5:45, but I only teach that one class. And did they relate to me? Probably. Did they like me? Probably. Am I an asshole during class? Absolutely. Do they come back every week? Right. But like my yoga following is in Atlanta. It super is. And that was definitely like a big part of my life. And now I just to clear the cobwebs, because I want to be super transparent.
Well, let's steer it towards Charlie. What is Charlie?
Well, since I moved here, it's been a lot of running and working.
And why'd you move here?
I was in a long distance relationship, and he was here, and I was like,
Fair enough.
We're not going to break up, so I'll just come there. That's what brought me here, and I just wanted to find my feet and like what makes sense for me. And I'm a workhorse, so I work a lot. And the running in Memphis, the running community is legit one of the reasons that I moved here.
It's awesome.
It's huge. And
It's
awesome.
huge. So yoga in Atlanta is huge, as big as running in Memphis.
Wow.
So and that's like
Gotcha.
that's been my experience. I'm sure that yoga in Memphis is like otherworldly to plenty of people that live here. That hasn't been my experience. But moving to Memphis and plugging into the running community made me feel more at home quickly, like than anything I was
Bunch
even
of awesome
planning
people
on.
in this
Bunch
community.
of awesome people. Run groups, just like daily runs, training grups, races all the time. I've never seen anything like this before.
It's not that way everywhere. I don't have any.
really,
just assume that
Like
it
really,
is.
really
Memphis
not.
Runner Track Club, and I don't know if they still are, but at one point, like 4 or 5 years ago, they were I'm going to say top 10 definitely, but I want to say it was like 5th or 6th largest running organization in the country.
No
Wow.
kidding.
Yeah.
Huh.
Like, how many people do you know that are ultra runners? Just think
Well,
about
us, yeah.
Yeah.
just think about that.
Shit ton.
That's a whole lot more than most people know. It
Yeah,
just
I mean,
is.
there's a lot of truth in that. Like, I probably in a lot of other cities, you can't go and find 20 people that'll just go run a 25K because
You
that's
don't
what
think
we
so?
want to go do. I don't think there's that many people.
Not together because they know each other, because they're running with each other all the time, because that's like what they do.
Yeah.
They might be doing that.
I mean, think-
but
Yeah, that's crazy. I
it's
never really
one-on-one.
thought about
Think-
it.
There's not a community
Think about
like
how
there
many
is
people
here.
you could call and say, "Hey, I'm going to go do a training run out at Shelby Forest, or I'm
We
going to
could
go
get,
to
if we wanted to, we could get 100 people. It's
exactly
easy.
just for a training run."
Y'all, there's
like
you have a 5K and 2,000 people show up. What the actual fuck?
Yeah.
That's unheard of. And I'm from Atlanta. Not to say that like and
Atlanta's
it's-
a bigger
it's
city than
very
Memphis, yeah.
specific. So that was attractive to me. So
That's awesome.
happily running has like
That's awesome.
given me a lot.
That's really cool. I never thought about that at all.
I mean, my boyfriend,
Yeah.
so we'd be long distance. He'd send me pictures from his race. I'd be like, I'm sorry.
Who are all these people?
What? Like, what do you mean another race? Atlanta has the
Yeah,
Peachtree Road race, and
It's hard to like if you want to start a new race around here. It's hard to find the day to do a race on because there's
There's already 3 other
there's
5Ks that
already-
day.
Yeah,
yep, yeah.
So.
So, work life for me in Memphis has, since I moved here, has been just finding my feet, getting building this life, and a lot of running. That's been a lot of the life part, and then work.
What is your work?
I work at a store called Lululemon. Woohoo! And I worked there
Oh.
in Atlanta for years, and then I was able to transfer when I moved here.
Awesome.
It was
That's
great.
where I met her.
And we still just have the one Lululemon store.
There's one in Saddle Creek in Germantown. Yeah. Yep.
It's a nice, pretty new store.
Oh, okay.
Like it.
I think I met you like the first week that I was here at the old store, and I was like, who was that? Who was that? Look at those legs. She makes me nervous.
That's funny because you made me nervous. But you're like, hey, I'm Charlie. And then just every time I go in there, you're in there. And we just talked. And then I saw you at Sillamore, and you came up and talked to me. And
Do you run? Do you work at Lululemon every day?
I'm probably there 5 or 6 days a week. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a full-time gig.
She said that you intimidated her. And I said that you can have that effect on people. And we were talking about how everybody that comes onto the podcast or that we meet through the podcast, there's always like this, we either place them way up here and then we get to know them and it's like, hey, they're just normal people. And then we just, think all these things about people and it's never accurate. And what was your response to that?
So this is something, I don't know, a series of exercises I did or self-study or whatever. I don't know. A couple years ago, I landed my big learning from that year was if you make a list, like the list or the exercises, how do you wish people saw you? Like, how do you wish in your wildest dreams? Like, what's the lasting impact that you have when you meet somebody or once you've known them for a while? What would your big 3 be, right? And then you like go big. And then you ask the people that know you well, or they ask the people that don't know you that well, what's your impression of me? It's usually the same things.
Really?
So like what we want for ourselves is usually what we're already leading with. I don't know, maybe that's just if you're doing it right. But it's a really interesting question.
I
Like,
wouldn't
what's
put
your
being
impression of me?
put being a giant asshole on my top of my list, but that's what more people than I would say I am.
You know, though, that they wouldn't. They would probably say the things that
Vaughn
you wish
would.
they would say. Don't ask
That's the
Vaughn.
first thing I would say.
yeah,
You're
don't
a
ask
giant
Vaughn.
Because in this
asshole. 'Cause I
review
tell
that he
everybody
left,
that.
he did mention the cameraman. I didn't.
Oh, anyways, no, that's an interesting exercise to go through, though.
Yeah, I think asking people how you come across is a very interesting exercise. Because otherwise, you think what you think, and what the fuck do you know?
I've been taken aback a few times when told what people's opinions were and what they thought of me.
'Cause what?
Lately? It's
Are
not
they
what I
better or worse?
expected. Borderline. Depends on how your
Borderline better or
perspective.
I don't
borderline
know. I
worse?
don't think it's ever what you expect.
No.
We should talk about that a little more. Like I don't think. I'm
we
not.
probably
First of all, I'm
expect the
never going to
worst,
ask
right?
anybody that.
So
because I'm going to be disappointed in the answer
Never say
every
never.
single time.
Listen to you, not with that attitude. Come on, you guys.
No,
me out, Wilson.
I don't think this is not like a negative attitude. Like I just don't feel like you're ever going to get the answer that you want when you ask somebody that.
Well, how
Well,
do you
they're
know?
being nice. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I'll
I
give you an
don't know.
example. So
Oh,
so
you
somebody
think they're being-
there's
they're not
there's
being
No, I
honest?
think they're being totally honest. Like I don't know that I want to hear that.
Well, do you want to?
No.
Okay, I was gonna
Well,
say
then
ask
that's-
me.
You know what I mean? Like
But-
that's a different. I mean, that wouldn't be
Or
The
maybe
majority of
truthful
people aren't
to
going to
the
give you an
exercise.
honest answer.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
No, you have
the
to ask
majority of
people
people are
that you
going to be too
trust.
nice.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But like, I'll give you an example. So there's a young couple that have started in the gym in the last 5-6 months or so, and the wife came up to me to tell me that she figured out that the only person that her husband is more scared of than his mother is me. And it's in a good way. Like she said, if he's not acting right, all I got to do is say, well, I'm going to tell Brian next time we see him at the gym, and he starts acting right. And
That's funny.
that surprises me. Like, I don't know why.
It sounds like he admires you.
Exactly. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
But it still surprises me.
So there's what people say, and then there's what people mean. And sometimes you have to do a little bit of work.
Right.
I'm going to start getting on to you next
Yeah,
time.
that's really good. I
Yeah.
like that.
So
I gotta
this
get
thing, if
Brian.
you ever meet me in real life, this tattoo on my
Better
neck
act right.
says, "Say what you mean what you say."
Nice.
And I think mostly people don't do that.
So I had
Right,
the benefit of being married to a wonderful woman for 15, almost 16 years.
Is her name Dawn?
No.
Oh,
Carol.
Carol. Okay. So the whole sharing a tent thing, I was like,
That's
what's
just a
happening
friend.
with
Yeah,
this?
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
great.
But
Wow.
my wife passed away earlier this year, but
Okay.
she was very much the say what you think and mean what you say, to the point that people
You
called
think?
her. Yeah.
Yeah.
People called her and said, listen, I really need like a truthful opinion about this. And she's like, are you sure? You know, and yeah. And she'd give it to them straight. And they're like, not what I wanted to hear, but I know that's the truth of the situation.
Yeah,
So,
but they called her because they
knew they would get
they would get
the
that.
straight answer. And so I'm not always great at that, but I do try and live by that and try and be truthful with people. Maybe I try and sugarcoat it a little bit, but generally the message is still the same. So, anyways.
Carol was awesome at that. I
So
really,
good.
I really looked.
So good.
I looked up to her for that. I mean, she just lay it out there.
Yeah, she didn't
Whether-
care if you got your
whether-
feelings
yeah,
hurt
whether it hurts
or
your
not. I
feelings or
mean, she
not.
was going to say what she needed to say about it. So, anyways.
That's such an incredible topic to start thinking about. Like, because even if you ask me what I think about you, and I'm going to tell you, I'll tell you.
What do you think about me, Vaughn?
Right, but what the answer?
He
that
doesn't
you-
really want to answer
Yeah,
that.
he's like,
just so
I'm
you
not
know.
gonna
I don't know.
that's
The
fine.
answer is going to have all of my shit built
Of course
into it
it
as
is.
well. Right. So like, if you say, "How do you feel about me?" and I'll be like, "Well, you're crazy, whatever." But really, that it comes from my crazy mindset as well. So all of my baggage goes into my opinion of you, which is not necessarily a good
It's
opinion.
not based on
You
this.
know what I
It's
mean?
based
Like,
on this.
I may ask Brian what he thinks about me, but Brian's got all this other crap going on in his life that affects his view of me.
Yeah,
and what I'm
there's a
doing.
saying out there that's something along the lines of other people's opinion of you is their problem, not yours.
Right.
Or it's like you don't see the world how the world is. You see the world how you are.
Right.
Right. Exactly.
And we know that, right?
Yeah.
But I also think that's part of why what you hope people see in you is what people see in you,
People
because
actually
it's
see in
what
you.
you're it's your stuff.
I agree. Wilson's lost deep in thought. He's like
He's
he's
And
about to
that's-
he's about to do some yoga.
that's the whole
and
yoga
like,
thing.
He's getting into a zen moment here.
Well, I think it's conditional. You know, it's like they say, how other people feel about me is none of my business. And I think to some degree it is, because people are going to feel differently about you depending on which shade you're in at the time. You know, how I feel about you in any particular moment is going to vary depending on the variables.
Yeah, and also I think the other aspect of that is if you care about what other people think, you know, like if the example that keeps coming into my head, I used to work for a Fortune 500 company here in town, and I used to have a manager that says, if one person called you a dog, you can blow them off. 2 people call you a dog, you can blow them off. 3 people call you a dog, you got to start looking for your tail. And it's that mentality of like, if you care that people don't like you or for a specific reason or whatever, then you do need to take that to heart and decide if you want to change that about yourself or whatever. You know, and that's like what you're talking about asking people what they think of you and getting that feedback. I've got 10 different groups of people that I hang out with, and I think you would get different answers from those 10 groups because I'm the same person, but I act different with those groups, with those different groups. So you might get different answers between those groups depending on who they are. I don't know. Does that make any sense?
It does. It does. And at the end of the day, if you're doing the best you can, it shouldn't make any difference what other people think about you. But
if people are constantly calling you an asshole,
then you're probably not doing the best that
This
you can.
person's called me an asshole this week, so
Then you're probably not doing the best you can.
right.
You know, because I don't think people are just naturally.
Maybe you are. You just might need some outside help.
That's true.
That's very true.
You need a life
But-
coach.
Yeah.
But 9 out of 10 people that you talk to, when you say, "How do you feel about me?" are not going to say you're an asshole. They're just not.
Well,
People
they
aren't
wouldn't be
gonna-
hanging out with me if they thought I was an
yeah.
asshole.
I don't know that that's a fact.
I mean, I don't.
The people
choose
that
to go hang out.
yeah.
I'm not going to go hang
You-
out with
that's
people.
the
Well,
law of
but what if
attraction.
it's coworkers?
Then you
what
might need
if
to get a new
it's-
job.
Well, but if you're the asshole, then, you know, I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying there are situations where there are people that might not like you that you have to interact with on a
Here's
regular
what
basis.
I'm going to say to that. Going back to what Vaughn said, if there's people that don't like you, it's probably not you they don't like.
Right.
It's that about themselves. So and like attracts like.
So I guess what we're saying is you have to be careful about who you ask that question to.
I would ask the
Right.
people that you trust,
Yeah,
or
right,
the people that
right.
you're curious to hear the answer.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask the guy at the gas station. I
man.
don't
True
care.
story. True story.
You got to collect a lot of data.
Give me a pack of
I don't
Marlboro
know
Lights
that
and
that
tell me
study's
what you
going to
think.
come out real accurate. Lift Heavy Run Long number 119 is in the books.
Boom.